We're going to start with introductions of our 4 panelists. Our first panelist today is Ruth Casper, owner of Ruth Casper Design Studio. She is an interior designer with over 25 years of experience in the industry with an exuberant passion in design. She is a head designer and owner of Ruth Casper Design Studio in Troy, Michigan. Ruth focuses on bringing lightheartedness, warm spirit, and energy to her projects to ensure clients enjoy the entire process. Her design services include making selections for high-end new custom home builds and renovations, space planning, furniture selections, and lighting design, all with impeccable focus on detail. Ruth thoughtfully listens to her clients' needs to make sure the home reflects their personality. Her passion is to provide interior design services for her customers where the foundation of the home is you. This mudroom was actually highlighted in this month's spring issue of Detroit Design. Ruth graduated from Syracuse University with a degree in interior architecture and environmental design studies. She lives in Michigan with her husband and 2 sons. In 1997, she started Ruth Casper Design Studio and ran her business from her home to be close to her family and raise them well. In July 2022, Ruth relocated her office here to the Michigan Design Center, which offers a great opportunity for her to bring clients closer to showrooms with premier and exclusive design styles only available to the trade. Ruth carries several women-owned brands in her studio that you can see today in Suite 102E. Ruth is thrilled to be part of the panel today and celebrate and support the wide range of achievements of women in this room. Paulina Petkowski, I've said it right every time until now. Paulina Petkowski is a social entrepreneur, gallerist, curator, and professor based in and from Detroit, Michigan. She is also an adjunct professor at the College for Creative Studies in the Fashion Design Department. Petkowski has her Associates and Bachelor's of Fine Arts in International Fashion Design from Palamita International Institute of Design in Florence, Italy, and Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. She has served as a New York Foundation of the Arts Immigrant Artist Mentor, previous visual art panelist for the National Endowment for the Arts, Art Prize judge, and previous keynote speaker for the Detroit Design Festival, as well as curatorial committee member of Detroit Month of Design 2023. She is director and co-founder of Playground Detroit, a contemporary art gallery and creative talent agency. She provides creative entrepreneurship with resources, professional guidance, and strategies to accelerate the careers, including several female artists. Playground Detroit's mission is to create opportunities. What happened? It started all over. I'm sorry. Let me fix that. Who loves technology? I do. Okay. Playground Detroit's mission is to create opportunities for artists and creative professionals in order to support and expand Detroit's creative economy. They provide several shows throughout the year, including the most recent that ends tomorrow. Next is Molly Borman. She is the founder of Housewife Essentials, a wallpaper and art line based here in Birmingham. And you may also know her from the hot pink booth in the resource room. She has worked for companies like Ralph Lauren, Shark Tank, and Spotify while starting 2 brands, Just Nips, a breast cancer organization, and Housewife Essentials, her infamous wallpaper line. And she's also the writer of a best-selling book, The Instagram Iceberg. She is committed to the principles of impeccable design, which will, when applied correctly, make her the happiest girl in the room. Her incredible Barbie photos were featured in Forbes magazine and are part of 2 different drawings today. So 2 of you lucky women will get to take one home. Molly loves connecting with fellow female founders and designers, and her door is always open for a good chat about wallpaper or just coffee. Make sure to say hi to her today. Last and certainly not least is Sheri Daugherty. Like many women, Sheri has 2 lives. She is a homeopathic practitioner specializing in Bionetic Scanning, which is her own business. But Sheri was also one of the founding members of the Sweet Dreams Project and has served as its director for the past 5 years. The Sweet Dreams Project is a woman-owned foundation that got its start 24 years ago when a group of 8 moms came together looking for something to do to give back to their community, where they could directly see, touch, and feel the fruits of their efforts. The mission is to create dream bedrooms for children that suffer with chronic medical and emotional conditions. The focus is on low to moderate income families throughout Michigan, with the goal of creating healing environments that promote peace, rest, and recovery. Chris Appleby and Kay Panicall are the official co-founders, and the charity operates as a program of the General Sports Foundation. Sweet Dreams is only successful because of its many sponsors from across Michigan and designers like you who will donate their talents and time. Another fundraiser is the Sweet Dreams Luncheon, held every year at the Townsend Hotel. Save the date so that you can go too. The 22nd annual Hats Off Luncheon is Friday, May 10th at the Townsend Hotel from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Today's focus for International Women's Day will be uplifting women, collaboration, philanthropy, and a call to action. Ruth will be our moderator today, and let's begin.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. It's on. Well, first of all, thank you all for coming and taking your time today. This is a bit of a passion project that we started brainstorming about 3 years ago. One of the things we love to do is collaborate with other people and connect people. We feel like there's a huge benefit in life of just having the community. So when this was a dream that Patty and I had, 3 years ago, she was transitioning out of being a long-term full-time teacher. She was retiring and thinking, oh, what's my next step? What's my next chapter going to look like? And she and I just really looked at what beyond the interior design, which is our business, how do we want to serve and reach out to other people? And one was connecting women and celebrating women and uplifting. So we started this day. So welcome and thank you for coming. It's going to be kind of like a casual chit chat, coffee talk up here. And the first thing I'd love to ask you women who are, first of all, thank you all for joining us, these powerhouse women. You can hear in their bios, they are exuberant, they are passionate and go-getters. So thank you for coming. In looking at your story, because I feel we're all storytellers, but your story brings you to where you are today. Who has inspired, influenced you, mentored you through the years? And can you share what that story looks like, please?
I'll go first. So actually the dress that I'm wearing today is a vintage Diane von Furstenberg. And when I graduated from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, I was recruited by the female creative director, Elisa Palmandrino. And so I immediately started working at DVF when I graduated. And the creative design team was also led by an amazing creative director. Her name was Heather. And, I then from that job got to work for Rachel Roy. So my background is in fashion design, even though I currently am an owner of an art gallery. And so there's been a really strong presence of female designers and female powerhouses in my life. And my mom, who's also here today, I can't forget her as well. I've been fortunate to be surrounded by strong women.
I have to go with the mom. And my mom, she didn't do a lot for certain organizations with volunteering, but she was just always there for everybody, family, friends, neighbors. And it really just came from a young child, just knowing that we have purpose and it's always about giving back whenever you can. So mine was pretty simple.
And I started my company as a way to honor my grandmother who had just passed. And, we were doing the whole thing where we have to go through her stuff. And it's the worst thing to ever do is like, you're their stuff and not them. And I'd heard of this amazing woman who has a company called the Heirloomist. And you can give her heirlooms of yours. And then she photographs them and makes them art. And we were like, oh, what should we heirloom of Granny? She was so wonderful. She worked, up until the day she died, which was amazing. Like she should not have been at work that day. But she, of course, to her, she really was. But we were going through her clothes. We saw this amazing jacket. And my sister and I were like, we would send it to the heirloomist, but like it's not the same. What if we just try to take the pattern and turn it into a wallpaper? We were like, oh yeah, that's great. I just bought a house, and I'm like, this will be great. It took a very long time to make that actually happen. We iterated for like a year plus on the pattern, making it look how we wanted. But of course, when my sister and I were doing this, we were like, this is what our grandmother would want. And it was so amazing to have her with us through that process, which was like so cathartic and healing. And then next thing you know, it's a company. So I'm so proud, and I get to think of her every day. So
Thank you. It's so nice. I hope that that's one of the takeaways that you get today is to kind of like slow down and pause and say, oh, what inspiring women have been in my background? Am I honoring them? Are they in my daily life? And how to leap forward and kind of take a piece of them with you. But looking back, I mean, my mom's here today. Mom, of course, you're one of them for sure. She made a lovely floral arrangement today. Thank you. See, when you're in need, I was in need yesterday, you can always turn to your mother. But one of my inspiring mentors was my grandmother, my mom's mom. Looking back at grandma, she's always just kind of in the background, silently being a mentor without being like right at the face of it. It's kind of the theory of more is caught than taught. You learn by observation. And watching her, she went through many trials in her life, became a widow. 35 years she was a widow. And somewhere along that way at 70, she just got bold and was like, you know what, I'm going to start a second career. And she became a social worker and started her career in working at that time. And she did that for the last 16 years of her life every day. So I figure if grandma can start at any age, any of us, if we have a passion or we feel pigeonholed or feel stuck, find a community, find a mentor, find a woman that can support you. It's never too late. And so that was a great story that I learned from my 70-year-old grandma. I don't know, I'm getting all choked up, but that's life. That's the realism. Another thing that we really would love to focus on today, besides collaborating and inspiring, encouraging other women, is the philanthropy behind it. And how do you get started? What was your journey to look like? We all up here have a passion piece connected to our hearts. What is a way that if someone in the audience today feels their little nudge, they want to get started? Can you please share your story so they can be inspired?
Well, I will start with that. So the Sweet Dreams Project, 24 years ago, we started. There were just 8 girlfriends that we were young moms. Everybody had little kids, and we were just looking for something that we could do to give back to our communities where we could be a part of it, where we weren't just raising money and donating it somewhere where we didn't see the physical place that our money landed. And we wanted to be a part of actually doing the work that went into whatever we were donating to. And it took a while. We tossed around a lot of different ideas and nothing was really sticking. And then one of the founders, Kay Ponicle, her brother was an accomplished artist. And she had just asked him to come into her home and do some artistic work in both of her children's bedrooms. And when her kids saw their rooms, she said she just was overtaken with how overwhelmed they were with their space. And that every time they entered those rooms, she just saw them light up. And it was theirs. It was something that was, just their space to go into. And so she came back to us at one of our meetings and said, okay, you guys, I think I found the idea. Let's do this for sick children. And let's reach out to area hospitals and let's see if we can do spaces within the hospitals, playrooms, things of that nature where you can, many of us have walked into some of these like IV rooms where these kids are getting chemotherapy and things of that nature, and they're drab and they're just like, oh my gosh, how can this child sit in this space for hours and hours and not have something inspiring around them? And then our focus became, let's work with lower to moderate income. And that doesn't mean that every family that goes through a situation where their child is ill, it's horrendous, it's life-changing. But we were trying to focus on those that are already in a tough situation. And then this gets layered on top of it, having a sick child. And then you're coming home to situations that there's a lot of disorganization. There's a lot of uncleanliness in the space that tends to go along just with where they're at in their life. And so we basically started reaching out to area hospitals. The social workers knew our criteria, and they feed us the families. We typically don't pick our children. We let the social workers do that, and they surface up the families to us. And then we go in and we meet the child and we get what the child wants, their dreams, their wishes, their hopes, what they would love to see when they walk in. And it just took off from there. And it was so not hard to get started. In the beginning, we did it, the 8 girls, we went in and we would design all the spaces. We now have wonderful designers like Ruth and many of the designers here at the Design Center involved. We try to pull in a designer to most of our projects, and they all volunteer their services to come in with their design and their teams. And it's been so much fun for us to meet so many different people. We do the whole state of Michigan. We do also work with Make-A-Wish. So we reached out to them and said, hey, if you guys have somebody where their wish is a new bedroom, we'd be happy to partner with you on that. So any child in the state of Michigan through Make-A-Wish where their wish is a new bedroom, they forward those over to us. And then we meet financially with Make-A-Wish on the project. So I guess what I could really just say about how do you get started, just do it. I mean, you just have to put yourself out there. It's not hard. Businesses, I truly don't think it's not hard to start it. We just have to stay committed to it. And believe me, us 8 moms, we're now at a point in our lives where most of us a lot of the girls are looking to retirement and they're spending a lot of time in Florida, and we don't have that team that we used to have. So now I'm pulling in a whole young group of late 20 and young 30-year-olds that are women that are wanting to look for something to help build their business acumen as well as give back to their communities. So it's really fun. That's just happened like in the last year where we're really reaching out to that age group of gals in the community that are, little power makers within their own careers. And we hope that it continues for another 24.
I second a lot of what you said. When I was starting out, and I was working at Ralph Lauren, and I really wanted to do my own thing, but I didn't know how, whatever. I remember somebody told me, giving back is always good for business. And I was like, okay, elaborate, and they're like, you just have to do it. And I'm like, I need more than that. Like, if you're giving me guidance, give me clear guidance. And they're like, you have to give back. You have to make it part of your business. And I'm like, give me something concrete to do. But they didn't. Like, you have to just be involved in the community or figure out a way to be involved. I'm like, all right, fine. So I always think about that. And a friend of mine's sister, they started a organization to help give to help fund cold cap treatment for women. So when they're going through chemo, they can keep their hair, and it's kind of expensive. So the point is their organization will fund this treatment so women don't have to lose all of their hair and can sort of maintain some of that through their cancer treatment process. And I was like, oh, like, great, this is great. How can I help? And they're like, we just need money. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have much of that, but I'll try. And I said, what if I made like something and we could auction it off and then the money will go? They're like, yeah, great. Anything helps. So I made these photographs. I was like, oh, this is like a girly thing. We'll make these Barbies. And this is like 5-6 years ago. I photographed Barbies. We make little outfits. They're like the cutest thing. And everybody wanted them. And we made a lot of money. And I was like, is this what that guy meant? So I was like, okay, cool. Then they were, for this particular event, when I made them the first time, these Barbies, they were in holiday clothes. So I'm like, I don't think holiday clothes are what people want year round in their home. It was like a special event. So I redo them in like cuter outfits and kind of like this. And, any person who ever has a charity auction, great. Go, sure, you can have one, donate it, either, sometimes we'll donate it like to the piece to a person, or sometimes they'll raise money and someone will buy it at auction. I don't care how they do it. If it's going to a good cause, it's fine. And then all of a sudden I'd realize somebody from Texas on Instagram would request this Barbie for their charity. And then I get 3 orders from Texas. That's weird. And it just pattern kept happening. I was like, oh yeah. Giving back is good for business. And, it's not one-to-one. It might take some time, but I'm always so proud to keep doing that. And it is good. It is good for business, and it is good for day-to-day life and feeling good and waking up every day. So,
And it's so interesting, when you were first advised, you didn't have the passion piece behind it.
no.
And then it just felt wrong, like
Like,
to
what
do
are you
it just to
talking
do it for
about?
business. But then when you found your passion,
Yeah.
connected with it, it just
Yeah.
kept going.
And every year I do still try to help that original organization, like all the time, of course. And they're awesome and they're good friends now. So it all worked out.
I guess I'll just say that, Playground Detroit was really started as a social enterprise. So it's a mission-driven business. And so by doing the work that we do as a gallery and working and supporting emerging artists in Detroit in particular, there's definitely a social impact to that work. And especially with creating revenue and generating funds that go directly into artist pockets. To date, there's been over, $500,000 that have been directly put into artists' hands through the programming and exhibitions and the artwork sales and the professional guidance and mentorship that Playground Detroit provides. So I think that's just a big part of the work that is intrinsic to supporting artists and art. Because I think sometimes people don't think about art as a business, and they think of it more of as a hobby or that's fun or that's cute. But there is really a serious impact that art has on everybody's lives. And it's incredibly important to support the creators that are actually producing that work, particularly in the city of Detroit. The gallery is in the city proper. And so, you hear about Detroit's revitalization and how vibrant the arts and culture scene is there. And it's large in part because of the artists that are there. So nurturing them is really important. And interestingly enough, people kind of just started coming out of the woodwork with us too to donate art supplies. So there's been a lot of people whose parents have passed, or people who find themselves with a surplus of art things that they don't use. So we've over the years been in receipt of those and collect those, and then help to redistribute those to either artists that are teachers in the DPS district, or give them directly to artists who are just looking for, supplies and materials. So there's always kind of a in and out motion of giving and receiving, which is great to be a part of.
Thank you. And I think, you know what, I looked left. This is what over 50 looks like. You forget your thoughts, just like, what was I going to say about charities too? I think it was, don't ever think you don't have something to give. Like if you're not sure where to start, think of a hobby, think of something that sparks you joy or gives you a passion, and try to seek a charity or just someone that you can help. It can be the smallest smallest thing, and it can really just impact one person. Like for Sweet Dreams, one of the beauty is people are sometimes, oh, I can't help, I'm not a designer, or I'm not good with color, or I don't know how to put a room together. There's so many other layers that we need support with. I mean, that is like my passion charity. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Clearing out the space, taking things to a dumpster if we need it, helping rake the leaves out of the lawn, getting the lawn bags to the driveway, scrubbing a refrigerator out, like all those things. We all have these great tasks, doing a Target run for us, going to get more paper towels, just all these little things as we're putting the room together. So stretch yourself, just keep asking other people around you. They may be part of something that needs help in a way that you can be plugged right in. So again, it just kind of goes back to the community piece of just keep talking and sharing to each other, and it'll lead you to the right way. It all trickles down. Another one of our like great passions is uplifting women. Like, how do we inspire each other? How do we connect? How do we how have we been uplifted? Can you guys talk about, is there a special woman in your life that either you've been uplifted by or that you're able to give back to?
Mine's sitting right over there. Ruth has been incredible to our organization, and she has spearheaded so many projects for us, and she pulls so many other people in. And every time I just say, okay, who else can we get to do this? Oh, I'll find somebody. Don't worry. And so it takes so much off of, well, while I might have 6 rooms going at the same time, she spearheads things, and you get people that want to do. And so I'm so inspired by her and all that she juggles and all that she handles, and her staff as well. I mean, Amy and Patty are amazing. We just did, some of you may have seen around Thanksgiving time, we did a full home. We do full homes. This past year we did 2. And it isn't our goal always, but sometimes we walk into a space and the family is just in such a situation that we just say, how can we just do 1 room in this house? We can't have them walk back into everything that they have to deal with. And this one family, they had water damage in their home right as their child was being taken to St. Jude's. They had other children that had to stay back in Michigan while the mom and dad went down to St. Jude's with the child for months. They were gone. And it was just actually somebody in the community had told me about this family. So I connected with the grandmother. She walked me through the house. And I was just like, oh my gosh, we can't let them come home to this. The water damage was awful. So I reached out to Ruth, and she's like, let's go see it. And she's like, okay, I got it. We're going to get everyone from the design center. We're going to get all these designers on board. Everyone's going to take a space in the house. And then it doesn't become this giant load on any one person. Everybody takes on their individual space, and it came together. I mean, it was, one of the children didn't even have a bedroom. So then we had a construction company that volunteered their services to come in and build a bedroom in the basement. Somebody else came and put in an egress window so that could be a space. So the siblings are so affected in these situations too. We often forget because the family's so tied up with the sick child, and the parents are so pulled into that sick child's life that the siblings often get emotionally overlooked. This so touched every child in that house. It was so amazing, but she was it. She spearheaded that whole thing. And so you are my uplift. You truly are. You are such a special person. And again, once we start giving, what you get back in return is so much more than you can ever give. And you just can't believe the people that come forward that are willing. Everybody, there's so many people out there that are just looking to give. Most of our rooms that are pictured on these boards here, every city we go to in the state where we do a room, I just start reaching out to area businesses because we're only given so much money that we, to accomplish these makeovers. And some of them we're working on one right now up in St. John's. The entire room had to be taken, walls, ceiling, floor, everything ripped out. The door to the room was shredded by a dog. It was horrible. And we got hooked up with an organization at a St. John's High School where they have 2 construction classes. And the professor and the kids came and redid this entire room for us. They took all the drywall out, the flooring, the ceiling, and they've mudded and taped. And it's just been such an inspiration to me. And it's been fun moving towards, again, back to that theme of getting this younger generation involved in giving back. We're working with Michigan State University also on Theta Chi fraternity up there has helped us on many rooms. The boys come and they help us paint and they organize and they love meeting the children. And so it's really been fun. We had St. Andrews University. I don't know if any of you know of that university, but it's down in Berrien Springs, down near St. Joseph. They have a big design school and all of those kids came and did a room for us and they built things actually in their workshops, shelves and things of that nature one looked like the back of a car and the lights lit up because the child loved the movie Cars, the Pixar movie. So it's what we get out of it is the people that are giving is so much more than what we put into it. So it leads to happiness in life, and purpose. But getting back to Ruth, yes, she's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you for that. But I love it. I love what we do. I love our connection. It's fantastic. And I see Haley back here. Haley's one of the designers too, that I was just a connector. And sometimes life just needs connecting people and then you delegate it out and she took off with her room too. So,
And
I don't
she's
know if
done
there's
3
any other-
spaces for us.
yeah,
So
thank you.
we so appreciate her.
And I don't remember the original question, but
Good, because I don't either. So
but I do have something to say that does seem like it's in line with this, but I know when, if especially designers or women who have these service business or, any business, there are always going to be times where you're like, oh, well, this is it. I guess, nobody wants to work with me. Don't have any more clients. You always feel like there's doubt creeps in and all this stuff. But I find that if you put yourself out there and you talk to other people, not in a crazy desperate way, but just like, this is what I do. How can I help? This is what I do. What are you working on? Business will come your way. It does come back around. And I, of course, find that more with women. But I'm sure it's just this thing we can all relate to when you have a little bit of doubt, but you put yourself out there, you're willing to meet people, see what their needs are, see how you can help them. They will help you. It works out.
it's true. And that's like a great segue into something else I was going to say too is, how do you overcome difficulties and like the self-doubt aspect? And how do you get through difficult times? Either we all wear many hats as women, as we know. We start out, we're daughters. That's a given, because we all are. We can be moms, we can be partners, we can be entrepreneurs, we can have the pressure of being single moms. We all have many different hats. And then how do you fit yourself into that as well? So the self-doubt's a huge one. Like, how do you move yourself through that? One way that I do is because it comes up all the time. No matter how old you are. One of the things I find is reach out to people, find a community. Moving here to the design center and having all these designers around me, not just designers, but the vendors, everybody who works in this building, we've all become connected and know each other's stories. So we help carry each other through hard times. I'm personally going through something since January. My husband was in a car accident. The outpouring of my community here has just been incredible, whether it's a text, a prayer, a meal, anything to help carry my family. Had I not got through that self-doubt that I could find a place here at the Design Center and take that leap and grow my community, all these fruits wouldn't have come today. So that, moving through that self-doubt is huge, and just believing in yourself. Do you have anything, Paulina?
Yes, I do.
Excellent.
So I actually like to tune into the Tory Burch series that they have for founders and women. And it's a free resource on her email blast. And there's speakers often that you can tune into, and it's for female entrepreneurs. So when you do feel alone, you can be on a Zoom with a lot of other women who are facing similar problems. And they had someone recently speaking about negative self-talk. And she was saying that, hope I don't butcher these numbers, approximately you have like 60,000 thoughts a day. And of those 60,000 thoughts, like 80% of them or 60% of them are negative. And out of that, like, I think 60% are negative, and then of that amount, 80% are reoccurring thoughts daily. So that really kind of hit me in a profound way, because, why are we so mean to ourselves when, if you were to say, you're having a bad day, and like, no, like, you're going to be fine. Everything's great. You're an amazing person. You look, amazing. Like, you wouldn't talk to anybody else in your life that way. So I think just being conscious of your own thoughts, and if you think about those and then just like flipping them and, literally just saying other things and just turning it around. Like, if you're having a bad day, just be like, it's going to be a great day. Like, and just trying to stay positive for your own encouragement and be your own best friend, I think is something that we all should do more. And since learning that, I've been really trying to do that myself.
I love that. And one of the, I was going to talk about this a little later, but it's perfect now. One of the things that I did to help myself 3 years ago was get a life coach. She's actually here today. You guys can meet her, and she's one of my great resources I'm going to share with you at the end of the day. And she taught me just that. She said that voice inside our head, we all have that negative doubt, that mean girl. And she goes, why are you letting that mean girl rule your roost? You have to give her a name, and you need to say, get out of here. I don't even remember her name. I did give her one at a time, but I let her go, so I forgot the name. But that helped me, because so many times it would just infiltrate into a spiral effect. And I just was the first time I actually got permission, or like pointed out to me that we do that. And then secondly, like, that's not acceptable. Like, for you to be the woman you're supposed to be, you need to put that aside. It's kind of like the breakup. You're supposed to break up with someone, but until you do, you can't let the right person in. And I was blocking myself. So I'll share Carrie's information with you. She's phenomenal. She's here today. But that is such a great point. Thank you for that. The other thing that sometimes that I learned too, that like helping yourself, is saying no is more important than saying yes. And just to find that strength, that not even just saying no and then, oh, because of X, Y, and Z. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe anyone an excuse. You can just say no. And so that was another really important thing that I hope that other women have taught me in my life and mentored into me. And now we're just kind of sharing little tidbits with you guys too, that we've learned over the way, because it's important.
Saying no is so hard. It's so hard, but I second that. It's like critical a lot.
100%. And then also just like saying no so you can find time for yourself, like personal self-care. We are in a culture of producing everything, or like our value can be in what we've produced and what we show in our job and tactile things. And sometimes just setting that aside and saying, you can get it, you have permission to give yourself that same love and caring as you do to other people and not burn yourself out. Because Lord knows we can drive ourselves into the ground.
But when you do that, you don't have anything left to give. And so I think that's also something I've learned is you really need to be able to fill up your own cup before you can, give to others. And when you don't do that, like you do burn out and you do really feel like you don't have anything to provide other people. So it's, self-care, people are like, oh, self-care, it's like a real thing. You really have to do that.
You 100% have to. Somebody just told me a couple weeks ago, always put your oxygen mask on first so that you can fully give to others. And so I'm just going to go like, okay, rapid fire. I love rapid fires. What's your favorite self-care gift you give yourself?
Working.
Transcendental meditation.
Ooh,
I would say reading,
reading.
which I don't get to do enough of, but it's my goal.
Nice. I love it.
But speaking to that, right, we cannot take care of others if we aren't good for ourselves. And I think women, we have such a hard time with that because we're givers. We're naturally giving to children, giving to neighbors, giving to husbands. I mean, I think we all struggle with coming to the realization that, and for everybody, it's different, right? Whether it's just taking a walk around the block or whether it's getting on a podcast or reading a book or, whatever your thing is, that's what we need to discover. What takes you to that place where you just kind of reset and can be good for those around us. And I think figuring it out is a good goal.
And I think to that, it's okay if that changes too, because I know before I had kids, I didn't love working like I do now. And now I'm like, oh my God, if I have to change a diaper and I don't have my wallpaper to think about to make me happy while I'm changing the millionth diaper of the day and it's like 8:45 in the morning, it changes just how my perspective on everything. So I find I'm obsessed with work. I'm obsessed with my job, but also because it has, I have like the counter of diapers and allergy shots and all of these things with these little kids. And, I know also that will change, when who know, life or the kids get older, or maybe they're both in school or whatever happens. But I'm so happy now that I can work, I can be the mom I want to be. And, I know moms get this all the time, working mom, how do you do it? It's like, I have to for many reasons, but sanity also. But maybe later that'll change. That's okay. We'll see. But I think giving ourselves that grace instead of just saying, okay, well, I'm the working mom or I'm the not working mom or whatever it is also so critical and helpful. And just even to get rid of the negative self-talk, no, it's okay. We're good. Doing what works for me today.
It's great. I love the word grace that you use too. It is
I
just
say it in my head on
it's just-
loop.
it throws it, it's tied into you, getting rid of that mean girl, giving yourself grace, being patient with yourself, and just being kind to ourselves. One of my self-care that I love is I've incorporated about 2 years ago. Every morning I allow myself 15 to 20 minutes before everybody gets up. And it's just my time. And it's quiet and there's no phone, there's no computer. I light a candle, I do a daily devotion. And through that silence is really where you can hear your passions coming in and just be inspired for the day. And I try to get a word each day to kind of carry me through just to be inspired. You can see this warrior blanket. I have, we create blankets where they have faith words on them. So it could be warrior, breathe, faith, hope, love. So you can wrap yourself in this blanket in the morning and just feel that hug that you need. Today I just needed to be a warrior. But find what works for you. And like you said, it'll change in different seasons of your life because you may not have time at 5:30, 6 a.m. to do that because you're changing diapers. So where do you, constantly recheck yourself? Where can you incorporate? It's so important to have the self time.
We're going to wrap up in just a minute. So if each of you could just give one last word or sentence or, recommendation to our crowd before we have some questions.
I would just say, look for something in life that gives you happiness. I mean, that's the key. I've had a lot of different careers in my life up until now, and I work 2 jobs that don't feel like jobs. And I think that's what keeps you going every day.
Gonna say it again, just give yourself grace. Goes a long way.
I'm going to shamelessly plug the artist that is not in the room, but is on either side of us and on the back table, Martina Alexander. She's the next solo exhibition at the gallery, which opens on March 23rd. So I'd love to invite you all to come to the opening from 6 to 9. And if you can't make it, we'll be open with her exhibit for the next 4 weeks as well. If you have any questions about her work, just feel free to talk to me after the panel. Thank you.